Welcome to Connections Podcast, where we bring value and connect with inspiring individuals from the world of real estate. In today's episode, we have a special guest, Jonathan Mitchell from ADU Pals. Jonathan has been instrumental in helping clients navigate the complex process of building accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, from initial design to final construction. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Welcome back to Connections. Very, very excited about today's guest. He's a really good friend of mine. We've built a great relationship. When did we meet? Probably 6 months ago?
Has it only been that long?
Yeah, I think
Tyler Mall.
Tyler Mall, huh? Yeah. So probably 6 months, maybe a little more. But we've built a great relationship. I've driven out to San Diego where he's at to go to some of his events that he's hosting. And he comes from a solar background. And now he's doing, you see him wearing it all over. His company is called ADU Pals. And, I'll let him explain a little bit about what they do and stuff. But yeah, this is my good friend, Jonathan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Neil.
How do you feel?
I'm feeling great, bro. You pressed record.
I did press record.
Start at the beginning.
Yeah. So it was funny because we were talking about it. We actually did one last week. He was hosting it on the software that we use, and we were in 40 minutes, and he never.
I think it was
record.
Closer to 30, but okay, we'll say 40.
But he never pressed record. So here we are at my office now, my studio. So I actually did press record, hopefully.
And we'll run it back on mine.
Yeah, we'll run it back.
But it's cool though, because I get to see your office, I get to see your workspace, and see kind of where you spend your time
most
sourcing deals and doing the thing, man.
Yeah, what do you think of the office?
Super dope. I took a video. I'll post it. You guys can follow me. Jonathan Mitchell, RE on Instagram, JONATHANMITCHELLRE on IG. And I will post just a little clip of Neil's dope office here in Riverside. And stoked, man.
Startup vibes, right?
Best vibes in the world.
Literally best vibes.
The best vibes.
All day.
Dude, there's
calls.
nothing so I relate business to a tree as an organism or even a baby, right? When a baby is born, it's really weak, right? It's fragile, it's frail, right? Yeah. It takes a lot of energy to teach that baby, to help that baby grow, to feed that baby, to change that baby's diaper. But when that baby becomes an adult, that's when you as a parent or grandparent start getting ROI. All the way through as a parent, you're essentially putting in the work, you get it on the back. Same thing with a tree, right? You plant a tree, you till the ground, you make sure the ground's fertile, you put the seed in the ground, you start to water it, you make sure it has sunshine. You have to do the whole thing, right? And then it takes a really long time for that to become a tree where then it's actually bearing fruit that you get to eat. A business is like that.
Yeah.
But here's the point. Just like those other two things, we're always trying to get the fruit.
Right away.
I want the fruit. Give me the fruit. Give me the fruit. Give me the fruit. But you forget, because this is my first startup now, right?
Yeah.
This time I'm being a lot more intentional about taking pictures and enjoying this part of the ride. I'm like, hey guys, we're not going to get this back again, because when you do get to a place where you have 20, 30, 40, 50, at our height, I kept saying 108, but I actually just went back and looked. There's 115 W-2 employees. Plus 100 sales reps.
Wow.
Plus subcontractors. When you're running the thing and doing the thing, those fun days are gone, bro. So you talk about pushing the rock up the hill. It's heavy. You want to get the thing over the hill, but then you look back, and when you're chasing that rock down the hill, it's a different problem to have. So what I'm doing right now is just being really intentional about taking a lot of pictures. Hey guys, remember this time. We're never going to be able to do this again. We're never going to have this startup energy again.
That's dope. And I remember we having a conversation, and you had mentioned that to me, hey, enjoy the process right now. Because we've been at it for, with Caesar, you met him. We've been at it for 90 days now. We're hitting our 90-day mark.
Yeah.
And we have one closed transaction. We have a huge pipeline, and it'll become profitable. But right now we're not profitable.
Right.
It's a startup. There's
right.
a lot of upfront costs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't talk about that. Especially when you build a company. It's one thing to get into the business and do it yourself and be the sales rep. But once you already understand all that, it's different to build a company.
Well, I think that's where you're actually ahead of a lot of people that are your age, Neil. You're not technically a young guy, but you're definitely not old.
Damn, I'm not the young guy. No.
You're transitioning into, you're married now, probably talking about kids. You bought a really dope house. You're sort of transitioning, and you've been in this space for a while now, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm 42, right?
I'll be 28 exactly 1 week from today.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank
My
you.
daughter's birthday is the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was I going to say? Oh, so there's a difference between being really good at sales and being a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think business owners, you can be any type of sales person. You have to have sales in business. Obviously, it's actually, you have to have, in order to be a business, you have to have sales. There's a lot of guys that can go become a CEO of a company that's never made $1.
Yeah.
No one cares, right? You got to have customers. You got to be making revenue to be a company, but you can be an engineer, right? Like Elon or Bezos or, the NVIDIA CEO, right? You can be an engineer and be a business owner. Steve Jobs, right? They're software engineers. And I think you can be a salesperson and be a business owner, but you have to have sales to have a business.
Correct.
So you could be an engineer, but also be a salesperson because they have to go to meetings, they have to raise capital, they have to essentially sell their team on the vision, do that whole thing. Now, the point I'm trying to make to you, Neil, is from my perspective, sometimes it's hard for guys to get rid of the ego that comes with sales. Because if you're a salesperson in real estate, you're a salesperson in solar, you're a salesperson in the car space, there's often the mortgage space. There's often an ego that comes with it. There's often the tendency to have your chest out. I'm the man, I'm the guy, chase the white rabbit.
Top salesperson.
I'm the best.
Yeah.
No one can touch me. I'm learning. I'm doing the thing. I think there's a humility that comes with becoming a business owner. And I'll tell you this, there is a safe place. And for all you guys that are aspiring business owners out there is a safe space. There are people out there that get it. I think the majority of people that I've ever had to try to make payroll have looked at their bank account and said, holy crap, it's not where it needs to be. If someone saw this, they would run for the hills. There are more people out there like that than you guys could ever know. When I started my first company, my business account was in the red. After 6 months in the business, my wife was pregnant with our first child. I was making a tremendous amount of money. I had a big team that I'd already built. I left all that to start that business, and I started from scratch. Bootstrapped it, as they say. Didn't know how to read a balance sheet, didn't know how to read a P&L, but I say all that to say I sold a Jeep that I won. It was a very long contest that I was in. It was $12,000 that essentially I got it for. I went down to CarMax, and they wrote me a check. And Jenny thought I was crazy. But I'd sold that car to make payroll, and then it got worse. Like, we weren't making money. Account was in the red, business account, personal account. Didn't know where my next dollar was coming from. And payroll's due, bro, every 2 weeks. But there are people out there that get it, guys. Don't ever feel ashamed when you're going through tough times. Business has ebbs and flows. Some of the biggest companies in the world have gone out of business. Some of the biggest companies in the world have been saved through bankruptcy. They've been bought out. They've been saved through corporate mergers. They've been saved through, bailouts from banks. Business is tough. Be proud of yourself. Work super hard. Ask for help. Get yourself a mentor or multiple mentors. Be honest. And, we'll see how it goes. That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
What can you really control, right?
Hard work.
That's the question. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting you say, because a lot of people, like even me, going from a sales position to now the business owner, it's like, yeah, you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from sometimes. And sometimes it gets pretty tight, right? Like being a salesperson, there is no overhead. You're selling and yeah, you're doing well, but then you cap out. So it's like, okay, where do you transition from the salesperson to the business owner? And like you said, everyone that does it goes through those times that
100%.
They lose their money.
And it's an interesting dynamic too, Neil, because sometimes guys get it twisted or get it confused when you go from being a salesperson and now I'm a business owner where you don't have to sell.
You always have to sell.
Always have to sell. I mentioned Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Salesperson.
Always have
100%.
to sell.
Elon Musk, he would not even consider himself a business person. He's like, I'm an engineer. I build things.
Yeah.
But bro, how's your cost of capital so cheap?
Yeah.
Because people have bought into what you're doing. So he is selling. He's out there negotiating with really big companies, really big banks and governments. The guy's selling. So I think your network, if I understand, is a lot of wholesalers here in the IE or in Southern California, a bunch of real estate type people in Southern California. I would say this, guys, when you transition from sales to business owner, you're always going to want to be selling, because no matter what, you have to be making money. You should organically move into a place to where then you're just recruiting salespeople, or salespeople are working for you and you're training them and you're building systems. But you have to navigate that water too, because salespeople can be all consuming and they can be egotistical and they can have charisma and bring money in. But to your point about no overhead, Neil, now they're like, okay, what's in it for me? This business wouldn't exist without me.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to lever you, and then you become beholden to them, or you have exposure to them and they have leverage on you.
Now they have the power.
And they have
your
power.
Business.
That's exactly right. So I'm telling you where we are now. If we want to transition into where I am right now with ADU Pals, adupals.com, we are Navy SEALs, bro. I don't want an army anymore.
Yeah.
There's a saying in real estate, brokers are broker.
Yeah.
Agents are, no offense to agents. I know a lot of agents. I know a lot of brokers. I'm friends with tons of them. They've made me a lot of money. I've made money for them. I know a bunch of title people, everyone in the space, right, of real estate. I know a bunch of people all over. But I will say this, that doesn't necessarily that I mean I want all these people working for me, right?
Yeah.
Now they have these zero cut brokerages. Right. And people are like, they're consumed with, okay, I'm making 90%. It's like, well, who's going to mentor you? And you also want leads. And you also want me to front your money when, something's not going right. Yeah. And then that becomes your whole job. So I would say that for me, I don't want that anymore. I'm 42. I can close. As you guys can see, I'm a talker. I'm not nervous on the phone. I used to pound phones, 1,000 calls by lunch, bro. Kath bragged today about making 200 calls a day, and I just laughed. Dude, that's what I was telling Caesar. Bro, 200 calls all day? You call yourself a salesperson, bro? You call yourself hungry, bro? Kidding me?
Hey, out of those 1,000, how many contacts would you get?
Probably
actual conversations.
Less than 50.
Yeah.
Because back then, like I said, I'm 42. It was a long time ago, dude. We were actually calling on the phone, Neil.
Yeah.
Chicago Title would bring you a big book of names and numbers, drop it on the desk and say, get to work,
on
bro.
On the landline, right?
100%.
On the office phone.
And so if you were bad, you would have 2, but it was, yeah. And then people were working then as far as like they were going to the office and there were no cell phones. So like you had the morning time, hopefully, and you had the afternoon. So yeah, you're on the phones from like 3 to 7,
Before 3 to social media too,
3
right?
to 7 and 3 to 8 were the prime hours. So forget about your social life, dude.
Yeah, at least for the beginning. Yeah, now we're spoiled, right?
So spoiled.
Cell phone, social media,
dialers,
inbound stuff. Yeah, we just got a dialer yesterday for ourselves.
Yeah,
because we've actually scaled down our operation, and like it's funny because you're talking about like I'm a business owner now, right? So I fell into that a little bit when I started the company, and now I'm back to the roots. Like we're making calls. We're making calls. We're doing the sales. We're talking to clients. Got rid of half our staff, right?
I love that.
And it's just a matter of pivoting, and there's no ego.
If you can close, so I look at it like this. There's some firms that I compare that mindset to. Law firms. A lot of law firms, the best closers are the earliest partners, and they still close the big deals. They still deal with the biggest clients.
Yeah.
But they've built that partnership and that group, that firm over time.
Yeah.
But when you can close and you set the standard and and your team knows, dude, I don't have leverage because Neil can come in and take this deal and close it. And if I leave, he's just going to replace me, train someone. So it becomes about system. It becomes about, but you leading from the front when you're closing and you're like, hey, look, you're privileged to work here with me because I'm teaching you stuff. And look, if you want to go do this on your own, go do it. I'm going to help you because I am leading you here. But while you're here, this is the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things where you just got to do it.
Got to do it.
Got to restructure. And like you were saying, I want a team of what is it? Army Rangers,
Navy SEAls, Rangers
SEAls.
Work too. Yeah.
Yeah. Rangers.
As opposed to an army, or you want a SEAL team, tight, together, back to back, everyone very disciplined in their discipline.
Which will destroy a team of 50 plus.
100%. Or you can have a bunch of guys hanging around, talking the talk, doing the real estate dance, I call it. Bro, but when it goes down to the money, dude, we got to get down to the money, bro.
I had a VA company. I don't know if I've ever told you this. At the peak of the VA company, I had 87 agents virtually. Had never hired an agent before. Had no call center experience. I didn't understand bank accounts. I didn't even have an invoicing service. And we launched it, and I grew it in 90 days to almost 90 agents. I was hiring 10 days a week.
How was that as financially, though?
It was a lot of upfront costs. It was good because 20 of them were personally mine, and then we were outsourcing the rest. And, most people say, oh, agents will cost you $9. No, you can get them for, $3 to $5 an hour.
Yep.
And then we were charging. So I was making around anywhere from $2 to $3 per agent profit per hour. So I had about 60 that were for clients. So we're making $180 an hour profit Monday through Friday. The issue with that, though, is that it started becoming a VA company and not a real estate company.
Sounds like from the onset that it's a VA company.
Yeah, exactly. It's a management company. I was more into the management role, and I didn't have the people that I have now.
Become like an HR company, essentially,
and a staffing agency. That's what it was.
Staffing agency.
Staffing agency, and I didn't want to do that. That's something that I early on was like, this is not something I want to do. So we made some money, but now it's like I completely pivoted to real estate.
Yeah.
Again, and I've been on real estate ever since. And now we have multiple exit strategies. Now if we find a banger deal, we have the capability to buy it.
Yeah.
So we'll take it down ourselves. We have the contractors. We can buy and hold it.
And you have the network and you understand the space. You have PMLs. You have everything set up. You have title locked. Neil, I've been extremely impressed. This guy has an amazing network. He puts on amazing events. Downtown Riverside coming up next week. You have one
June
coming
27th. Up? Yeah, Thursday next week. If you guys are in downtown Riverside, you might want to come check it out. We average about 200 people.
Yeah, good speakers. I've been to a couple of them. You invited me to speak on the next one. Finally, I told him I was salty because he hasn't asked me to speak yet. So
it's because his daughter's birthday is on the 27th.
This one I won't be able to be at, but the next one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just where do you see ADU Pals going?
Yeah, so ADU Pals. So
short-term and long-term.
So 2019, they came out with, when I say they, I'm talking about the state government came out with these ADU laws. Essentially, it's the same, similar to how solar was, where I felt very blessed to get into solar when I did. It was booming. It's a new industry, and there was a lot of opportunity and a lot of low-hanging fruit. I think that's dissipated quite a bit now. There's still guys that are hanging on to it and making money and doing great, fantastic. But I think solar is transitioning from a big boom. Wall Street's out of it basically now.
Of solar?
I mean, the big money's gone. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Like Sunrun, if you look at their stock, SunPower almost went out of business. They're owned by Total. They got bought out. I mean, I could get into the really kind of big space of it. But
what do you think happened though? Because from what I heard, now they're making you purchase the batteries because the companies don't want to hold on to the power or don't want to buy the power, right? So you need a place to store it.
Yeah.
I don't know much about solar.
So essentially, there was a lot of money that was coming from the government. And that's why I say everything. There are things in the market that are outside of your understanding or power. Yeah. There are market conditions. Like right now, we're dealing with debt, right? We're dealing with debt in multiple ways. It's gone up so much that people don't want to sell their property if they have a 2 or 3% mortgage and go buy another one, right? And then us on the investor side, we're dealing with higher prices to borrow money. And the lenders, candidly, are dealing with higher prices to borrow money. So the arbitrage gets more expensive. We're always dealing with inflation, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the market condition I would compare it to now with debt. With solar, there was a lot of green money. Renewable energy was the new hot thing. Democrats were in office for a while. There was a lot of essentially incentives to do the thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of money. And then the big companies wanted to secure those tax credits. So essentially there was a lot of money pumped in, and then these funds came along, similar to what Sunrun does now, and they essentially create these funds and they sell essentially tax credits, tax liability, tax savings or shelter, coupled with a lot of money that goes in to essentially put these funds together. And then that fund becomes essentially an energy company, similar to Edison or SCG&E or PG&E. Not to get too much in the weeds, but that solar company is who you pay your bill to. They front the infrastructure, which is the solar system, similar to how Edison would put a solar front the infrastructure for you, all the wires and everything the utility owns.
Wow, this is crazy. I've never. Wow, keep going, dude, because this is good stuff. I didn't know how that worked.
So it's yeah, they front it. They essentially sell you the power. You pay them back. The problem is that it's not vertically integrated. They don't own the grid. That was the word I was looking for, the grid. So Edison paid for the grid. You pay them for the power to use their grid. This company, let's call it Sunrun or SunPower or Sonova, they put the solar system. They're that power company. You then pay them, right, every month for your bill. They give you the system for free. But what happened is the utilities have been lobbying for many, many years, okay, lobbying for many, many years to make it more difficult to get solar because it's cutting into their profits.
Of course.
So essentially over time, this is the third round. They got a new NEM approved, a net metering agreement, and it basically is not really solar friendly. And so that's why the batteries required, which makes the cost of the system more expensive, which then makes
30-40% more expensive, huh?
Yes. And then they're charging more fees on a monthly basis. It used to be zero when NEM 1 was here, was zero connection fee.
And then higher interest rate.
Yeah. And then the cost of capital is more expensive. So solar is
wasn't favorable no more.
And also a lot of the low hanging fruit, like back then there was a lot of early adopters getting solar. Yeah. There was a lot of people who didn't have solar. There's less people that have solar now, and there's a lot of competition. So for me, it's not a business that I want to be investing a lot of time, energy, and effort into. I want to be in a company or a business, an industry that is new, that's exciting, that there's low hanging fruit, which is partially why ADUs works for me. So I'm just going to transition and just give a quick understanding or explanation of what's happening in the ADU space. So California, I would say Seattle, I would say Florida. There's certain parts of Texas, and then Oregon is also a really big state. But California, I think, is at the forefront. San Diego being the most ADU friendly city in America.
Really?
Yeah. So California came out with a mandate that basically said, that's how we got into solar and started chasing that white rabbit. Basically, California came out and said, you cannot say no to solar. If you're an HOA, you cannot say no to solar in California. Everyone can put solar in their house. It's basically the same thing for ADUs, pretty much. You can pretty much build an ADU.
Yeah, because there's no minimum lot requirement. There's no zoning requirement. They got rid of all that stuff, right? Because before it was like, hey, your lot had to be a certain size. You had to have a certain zoning. So yeah, so they got rid of all that.
And
now if you have the space, you can build one.
Basically,
right?
Every city's different. That's the thing too. You're still developing real estate, guys.
You got setbacks. You got all that.
It's not going to be like solar where it's like, you get a permit, you install. It's not like that. It's different. You are building construction.
Yeah.
It is different, but it's easier now. And then San Diego, where we operate and where I'm actually from, leaned in even more.
Can you guys tell, by the way? You got tan, long hair, surfer bro.
I'll take that, bro. I'll take that. Take that. Yeah, they leaned in even more. So basically you get a 1-in-1, generally in the state of California, which one being one ADU, that's detached or attached. And then you have a garage conversion essentially for an existing unit.
What about junior ADUs?
So that would be a junior ADU, would be the conversion. So you get the one, which would be the ADU, and then the one. So you call it a 1-in-1. We call it a 1-in-1, a double play, basically. Standard.
Because from what I understand, a garage conversion is like you said, a garage conversion, and then you can build one in the back. And then obviously there's certain requirements, so it can't be like 80% more than the main house, right?
It depends on the city.
Yeah. So then what about, from what I understood, junior ADUs were when you build an attached addition to the house and then call that a quote unquote ADU, which is, 500 square feet.
No, a junior ADU generally is an existing unit. It's already built. The infrastructure's there. The framing's already there. The interior walls are already there. The slab's already there. And so you just think about like a garage, right? So a garage is the simplest explanation or example. The garage is already built, right? It already has a ground. Then you just come in and convert that. You make that into a habitable, livable space.
So garage conversion and junior ADU is essentially the same thing.
Same thing.
Got it.
We call, it's a JADU, or a conversion essentially. That would be one. And then the one would be the regular ADU. So that would be the new construction portion. And with these, obviously, people are able to create cash flow. Their backyard becomes a money-making machine for them. It helps them in retirement. And look, we're all in real estate. We want to make money in real estate, but in order to invest, you have to be able to walk through some pain.
So I do have a question. Is it easier to build in unincorporated areas where it's county based? Because I have a detached 3-car garage.
I think generally speaking, wherever, and this is kind of my standard and our team's understanding, if I can walk into a city and talk to someone, it's going to be easier.
Got it. That makes sense.
Where LA, you're not talking to anyone, dude. It's emails and good luck, right? Yeah. We've built in Santa Monica. It's very
Unless you're
tough.
already like in there, huh?
No, dude.
with the
Like,
city.
no, you can't. Like, you walk into the city and they give you a QR code to send a thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's all remote.
Yeah, got it.
And
So-
during COVID, it was so bad, but we're not going to go
terrible.
there. Yeah.
So another question, because my dad just built an ADU,
Yeah.
749 square feet, because it had to be under 750. Because then if it was 750 or above, it
Or
would have been like
impact fees.
$10,000 more.
Yeah.
It was a higher school district fee,
Yeah.
and then more permit fees from the city.
Impact fees. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for 1 square foot smaller, we saved like 10,000, or he saved like $10,000.
Nice.
So the question is there like a formula of how much a property will increase for the ADU? Because he asked me, he's like, hey, what do you think my property is worth? And I'm like, dude, I need to ask.
Yeah. So we offer we offer something called the PPR, which is a property potential report. You can go onto our website, www.adupalace.com. You can fill out the info sort of questionnaire there. We can talk to you. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information out there. You know, I'm a real estate guy. I'm an investor first. Traded almost $30 million in real estate to date. I own property in Maui. I own property on the Big Island. I have property all over, and our team does as well. We're real estate guys. So we think from an investor standpoint. So when we're looking at a property, we can break down what the rents are, what the projection should be, et cetera, et cetera. There are certain.
So there's no like set formula, right? Where it's like,
no,
hey,
it's different. It's just like real estate, right? I mean, it is real estate.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's area market specific. And then what do you plan on doing with the property, and then what have you built? What have you built there? So I will say this, Neil, too. ADUs are still a relatively new product.
correct.
So they're in San Diego, like I said, very forward thinking. A lot of the appraisers are already used to it. Lenders are used to it. In other areas, not so much. So sometimes appraisers don't know how to appraise it, and you have to almost do it like an NOI, like a commercial property, because there are no comps, and it really becomes down to how much money is that going to net you. So you're breaking that, even if it's 3 units or 4 or whatever, 2. You're looking at it from a different perspective than comps because it's producing cash as an asset.
So let me ask you this: say, because in the city of Moreno Valley, what my dad's plan, he bought the house in 2009, right? I'll give you a real life example. 2009, he paid $140,000. His mortgage is $1,000. He built the ADU with his own money, didn't get any loans on it, and the house before the ADU is worth about $550, and it's a 750 2-bed 1-bath ADU.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to convert the garage, but they told him he can't convert the garage. He could only convert the garage if he lives there. If he moves out, he can't convert it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rule that Moreno Valley has.
So a lot of rules that are like that.
Yeah. So is there my question is there like a specific, do you comp it based on the square footage total? As far as like the ADU plus the house, and see what homes in that area of that square footage are selling for? Or do you base it on the rents? Because if somebody purchases the house now, their NOI or their ROI or whatever is going to be different than his, because he's owned it so long.
Yeah. So I would say you would essentially just have a duplex. You would look for a comp that's a duplex. It's technically not a duplex. So just so everyone knows, it's not a duplex. It is a house and an ADU.
Yeah, it's a single family.
But you could look for comps that are a duplex, because you can live in one, obviously, and rent the other one.
He rented it for $2,200.
Or you can, yeah, right. So then that's the other thing, right? If there aren't any comps for like, then you have to essentially look at it from an investment standpoint.
Yeah.
And your buy pool is going to change, right? For some people that works, for some people it doesn't. An investor could buy it, or someone who wants to live in one, rent the other one out, and a house hack. So, but I'll say this, your dad's doing it right. He has created a tremendous amount of value. He got it for super cheap. Like, his build cost was super low because he did it, DIY.
Yeah, he does it himself. I helped him pull all the permits. I was the one negotiating or talking to the city.
Yeah, he murdered.
Yeah, making sure all that. And then all we did was pay the architect. But as far as all the material, even the architect was my friend, because I'm in the business,
Yeah.
So I helped him with the permits and all that stuff. And then my friend's the mayor.
Nice.
I went to
Moreno Valley?
I went to high school with him.
Nice.
Really good friend of mine.
Cool.
So anytime the city didn't respond, I would CC him.
Nice.
Yeah. When they would take long, I would just CC him. And then he appointed us an inspector. It was dope. We did it within like 6 months.
Sounds like I got to hook up now, bro. Guys, we do, development. We'll help you with your plans. We'll tell you what your city can do, how long it's going to take. It's known in the industry as a feasibility report, a study, basically what your baseline zone is, what your overlay zone is, what you can build on the property, and then you'll have that forever. right? So you can,
I'm still waiting on mine, by the way.
What do you mean? I got it for you quickly, fast.
No,
for the Rupa Valley property.
No. The one I bought, the 2-lane one here in Riverside.
Did you send me Did you send it to me?
Yeah, you're like, we charge for this now, bro.
I did.
Yeah, because I had another property in Rupa that I wanted.
Hey, you give it out free at first, bro. Yeah. When you start getting busy, you know what I mean? Stuff costs money.
Yeah, he sent it to me right away, and then I actually wanted to do one for my house because I just bought a house. And he's like, nah, bro, we charge for that now. I'll get it to you. I'll hook you up, but it's going to take a while. And
Is that what I said? Yeah. That's hilarious.
I was like, yeah, respect, bro. I didn't take it personal or nothing. Yeah.
And then, we'll handle your plans. We'll go over the design with you. If you want to actually move forward, we'll help you with financials.
Or do you do remodels too? With
no, we build. We do all that too. It's two separate companies, 5 North Contracting as well as ADU Pals. And then we're investors. So, I'm really busy. We're doing a bunch of JV opportunities. We have, access to a bunch of lenders. Basically anything in the real estate space, I have a guy for. I'm similar to you in that way. But where I kind of differ, where I'm putting all my energy is, this is a space that I love. The ADU space. I feel super blessed to be in San Diego, where we're building, 10, 12, 8, 6, 15, 30 ADUs on one 7,000 square foot lot. You have to see it for it really to click. And we're getting, $5, $6, $7 a foot for rents.
So it's you're saying say a 5. Wait, what? What'd you say? 5 ADUs on a one?
So I'll give you a real, for instance, an example of
Correct.
A property I bought. So I bought a property for under the market for $580.
In San Diego, that's really good. If you guys don't know the San Diego market, that's very good.
Yeah, so I got it for $580. We rehabbed it, right? Renter goes in. I'm getting the plans to convert that single family house. It's like 1,260 square feet into a duplex. So it'll be 2 units at 600. There's a garage in the back. That will be converted. So now I have 3 units and I'm building 4 units. So I'm taking an SFR house and I'm making 7 units. That property goes from $580,000. I've already mitigated my risk by rehabbing it, right? It's more valuable. My capital secure. I'm doing all the development with our team in-house or mitigating fees.
What's the total cost? So what'll be your all-in cost on that?
I don't have that number in front of me, but probably right around $2 million maybe.
And it's a 7 unit.
It'll be worth about $2.5 million.
Yeah.
And it will likely cash flow.
So how do you?
No parking required.
Exactly. That's one of the laws. Yeah.
Zero parking.
Yeah. You don't need a parking anymore. They can park on the street.
It depends on the area. So don't take that to the bank. That's why you need to call us and figure it out, because this is what we do. No, seriously, I'm not pitching. Honestly, like it's not every area that's like that. There's certain areas.
So question, how do you build those 4 units? Is it a certain zoning as far as, or are those all considered ADUs?
Yeah. So there are different zonings. There are different base zonings. San Diego has different zoning than everywhere else in the country. Like I said, it's the most aggressive, I would say, the most developer ADU friendly. It's
like Boyle Heights in LA. I have a buddy that develops in Boyle Heights, and he'll take SFRs and he'll build 8 units on them.
Similar. I didn't know about that, so I'm glad I'm going to look into that.
So
I don't like the LA market, for the record. Nothing against the LA market, but just for me, I haven't had success there.
So what he'll do is, because he taught me, he ran through it all, and essentially what he was saying is there's certain zonings in the city, so like R1.5, and what that means is that you can build a unit for every 1,500 square feet. So if you have a 6,000 square foot lot, even though it's an SFR, you can demolish it and build 4 units.
Yeah, but so that's okay. Yes.
And that's 4 units.
But he's going off base zoning.
Plus ADUs though.
Right. So does he get 1 for 1?
Correct.
It's really interesting. I'm going to look into that. Boyle Heights.
I'll connect you with him.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because I haven't heard anything like that in LA.
Yeah. So he'll do, and he's been doing this for years. Like he dominates Boyle Heights. Like he's the guy in Boyle Heights. And yeah, he'll do 4 units with each unit have their own ADU. So it's 8 units.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. It's different than what we're doing, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I like that play.
Yeah.
I don't know the Boyle Heights market, but I haven't heard that before. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah. I'll connect you with him.
Yeah. I mean, generally the master plan of a city is commercial for commercial. They generally don't allow you to do essentially residential next to commercial, meaning if I have a house or a duplex, that's all you're going to get. If I wanted to build more units, traditionally, I'd have to have a much bigger lot in the right perfect zone.
Correct.
Where this essentially is a house in a residential zone, I can do a minimum of 3 ADUs with 1 conversion.
Yeah.
So I get in San Diego, I would get the conversion, which would be the JADU, right? I would get a new ADU, and then I get a bonus affordable housing ADU. So a minimum of 3. Where we're building, my buy box personally is significantly more. Like on that lot, I could build 30 units if I want. I'm in escrow, a long escrow, a 9-month escrow on a piece of property that's 12,000 square feet, Neil. And we can build literally 70 units there if we want to on 12,000 square feet.
How high would you have to go up?
Like 6-7 stories. I'm not going to do that, but we could.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to have that option, right? To be able to do that thing.
Yeah. If you ever need any type of crew, framer, my dad's a framer. I think I've told you this.
You did tell me that.
Yeah. He's a framer here in Inland Empire. So if you ever need any type of crew, I mean, we have flooring. Paint.
Shout out Neil's dad.
Yeah. Framer. He actually helped me remodel my house.
Nice.
So he was the one that did it. Same thing. He didn't charge me, right? I didn't charge him for the ADU stuff.
I'm going to get that PPR to you, man. I forgot about it. You should have pinged me, bro.
Nah,
I
didn't want to
in front of everyone in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't want to bother you about it because I'm not in a rush to build anything. I just want to see what I can build.
Got you.
So if I was ready to build, then I would have been like, hey, bro, I need that.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. Value for value, right? But yeah, that's interesting, dude. I didn't know that stuff about ADUs. I have friends that like say for example, I remember having this specific conversation with a buddy of mine. He had 36 doors. As soon as they passed that law, like literally they passed it January 1st, 2019, it was 2019. As soon as they passed that law, he converted all the garages on the ones that he could convert.
100%.
So he almost doubled his doors.
100%.
Literally in the span of the first quarter of the year.
Now, I will tell you this. One thing to watch out for, guys, because obviously we're talking about upside here. Obviously, it's really exciting. Obviously, it's a generally new product. There are downsides to this. Number one, it's cash intensive. Number two, it takes a lot of time. It is investing in development. You're investing in construction. So I would not say that it's for the light of heart. It can be done. I'm never going to tell anyone they can't do anything. I'm never going to be like, this is too tough, don't do it. If you have the stomach for investing, invest. I would say surround yourself like I do in real estate or any business aspect of this thing, Neil. I would say find someone who knows what they're doing.
Of course.
And earn your stripes, because if not, it's going to be very expensive.
Especially if you're going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And you're in development.
Yeah, or even
managing cities, understanding Title 24 codes, understanding utilities, which are a major exposure point, how contractors think, how they operate, cash flow cycles. There's a lot of things that you can get into. And then you definitely don't want to build something that you can't get approved. I have a buddy who's a very experienced developer up in the Bay. Well, now he's back and forth to the Bay and another place. I'm not going to mention his name, but he spent a lot of money, millions of dollars building something. And they built it a little bit too wide up against the PL, the property line, and the city won't pass it. And he's stuck.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's like my dad does a lot of custom builds out in like Laguna and Dana Point and stuff like that. And you know how the properties are on a hill.
Yeah.
So you can't go past a certain height as far as the property. And if the city will go out and measure
the height restriction.
Correct. Yeah. And if you're a half an inch off, they'll make you drop the entire 100%. Roof. They will not pass you.
Yeah. And then if you have FAA, that's another thing, right? We have historical, which I dealt with on a property. I learned some properties, they're in a historical district and you can't, historical has to sign off on that. There's a lot of nuance to it.
Can't change the outside. You can change the interior to an extent, but the outside has to remain historical. Yeah.
Well, we have some tricks to get around that stuff too. You didn't hear it from me, but there are some things that you can do to help your situation. But again, you have to kind of gain that experience, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
You got to call the right person, build that network.
You got to know someone who knows somebody.
Like you said, pay your ticket, pay your dues.
100%.
A lot of people say, oh, I can do it myself. I'm going to keep 100%, but it's like 100% of what?
Yeah, I tend to be the guy that's like, if that guy can do it, I can do it. And that's got me some success, I would say, in life, but also expensive lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. My personality is very driver. So I don't tend to think things through all the way like I could have.
We're going, bro. This is
let's
great.
Get it.
Let's hit it.
Like, dude, I'll
full
go to a conference,
speed ahead.
Get fired up, and I'll start just banging stuff out, and then when it's like, okay, I could have done that a little better, and like you said, it's gotten, it's made me a lot of money, but I've also lost money because of it,
So then you get to a point. I have a buddy who's a Navy SEAL, and he same thing, super A-type, super alpha mentality. And, it took him a while to understand mentorship and coaching. And I'm a big advocate. I wasn't for a long time. It has to be the right person, the right situation.
Of course.
But they can save you so much money. And it's really nominal comparatively to you invest in the wrong property or the wrong situation can cost you
bankrupt
so much money and your time. Whereas if someone says, hey, Neil, that's a bad deal, don't do it. And you trust that person as a mentor. Same for me. I trust that person. They're like, hey, that's a bad deal, don't do it. And I don't do it. How much time, energy, and effort I've potentially avoided just from that one call.
And money.
Exactly. And if they break it down, now you're looking for that all the time, which then in the future, how many dividends is that going to pay when that same deal comes? Or you can even pay it forward to someone else. Oh, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. And then some information comes out or a friend of yours did that thing and you're like, bro, I could have told you, saved you $100,000.
Yeah.
So let me tell you one thing. One thing to watch out for, guys, on this upside conversation. This was my point. How are we doing on time?
We're good.
The thing about San Diego specifically, and some of these areas, maybe Boyle Heights this is immediately what popped in my mind. Actually, it came from a mentor of mine, a really big developer. He's raised a lot of money, millions and millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of dollars. He's a huge developer, and I'm very blessed to have him in my life as a mentor. But he's always like, Jonathan, you think on the upside, you need to start looking at the downside. And now I have it in my mind. I look at the downside a lot more now. I'm still going to always err personally on the side of aggression because that's how I am. I think if you never take the shot, you're never going to get a win. So I'm always going to err on that side and push for deals. You have to be doing deals to make money. But I'm also looking at, okay, where do I have exposure? So we have a 15-point thesis on our deals. We have a specific buy box. And now in my career, it's just really, really easy for me to say no. But here's my point. When these people who are out there, and you're an acquisition guy, when these acquisition agents, brokers, realtors, wholesalers are out getting these deals, the new pitch became, did you know that you could build 20 units on your property, Mr. Seller? Give me the listing agreement or let me sell your property. The seller thinks it's worth, $1 million is probably the average ticket in San Diego. Now they're telling me I could get you 1.3 million. So I'm saying this. Yeah, it's great that we can build. Yeah, it's great that we can develop. Yeah, it's great that it's really expensive or, depending on what side of the fence you're on, that we're getting high rents, right? There's value in that property. But if the price on the front side is already baked in, Neil, now I'm not winning. I'm taking on more risk. My debt on the front side is higher, right? I still have to make it to the end. Once you as a wholesaler or agent offloads that property, you got your money, you're out, you're on to the next. I still have to hold it. So I would say this, if you guys are investors, you guys want to get in the ADU space, you guys want to get into just developing property in general, rule 101 in real estate is you got to buy right. And I think as inventory decreases, Neil's like, dude, you cutting in my pockets. As inventory decreases, it's getting harder and harder to source deals. And this is all the way across the board to 500 units, 1,000 units.
The cost per deal right now is double than it was 2 years ago.
Guys are still trying to make their money. They have overhead, right? They have to pay for leads. Your time is valuable, right? And this is for big syndicators that I talk to across the country. It's the same thing. There's no deals. And then you have debt, and then you have to make the deals pencil. So then it's more people chasing a smaller amount of deals.
So that's when you get investors overpaying for deals, people that don't know how to underwrite. And
that's exactly right.
They want to do their first deal and they just overpay for that deal. And
that's exactly right. So I'm just warning you guys to be on the lookout for that if you're an investor. Obviously, we have to transact, but know what you're getting yourself into.
Don't be afraid to say no to deals.
100%.
Don't be afraid to walk away. Don't think, oh, let me make it work. Let me try to make it work to make some money. This market that we're in right now, do not be afraid to say no.
100%. And
I would have to learn how to say no.
I would say as a general rule, when you're getting going in business, you should say yes way more. Yes way more. Yes way more. But after you've taken some lumps, you have a little bit more establishment. You know how to get better deals. You know how to look at a deal. You have relationships built where you're getting some deal flow. I now am like high 90 percentile saying no. In fact, there are deals that I don't even look at. Like some of my dispo lists that I'm on, I literally don't even click on them anymore because I already know that I'm not going to buy the deal.
Does it ever happen where like say a wholesaler realtor just keeps sending you shitty deals and then it comes from that person, you're like, I'm not even going to look at it?
Often.
You know?
I get a lot of deal flow now, but yes, there are certain groups that I don't even click on the
I'm
email.
the same way. Yeah, I don't. I see it and I'm just like, because I'm very familiar with Riverside. I mean, it's my bet. We're operating in Riverside.
Yeah.
So if I see a zip code, I know what the property's worth. And they're, you know, like I got sent one yesterday, and then they're like, oh, cash price is 510, and I already knew that zip code. I was like, dude, that house is worth 550. Like, how does that even make sense?
And I have to pay both sides.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
Like, how does that?
And
make
you
sense?
have all the
And
power. And you have all the power with the contract. Yeah, and I have to EMD, like send you EMD right now.
Yeah, $25K.
It's not a deal for me.
No.
And look, no offense, bro. Everyone's got to make their money. I get it. If they have a buyer for that, sell that property, do that thing. They're obviously paying their bills.
I'm not the buyer for that.
I'm not the buyer.
Yeah.
But maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I've been in this game for, whatever, maybe 6 years ago, I was the buyer. I'm like, oh, bro, this is off market. I remember the first time I started getting off market deals, bro. It's off market. Let's go. You learn quick.
Yeah. 50K spread. You're saying I can make 50 grand?
Easy.
Origination points.
Light
holding costs.
Cosmetic rehab, bro.
TLC. Yeah. Dude,
I love it. I still haven't bought a deal from you, bro.
Not yet. It's coming though, for sure.
I want one.
Yeah.
And we talked about maybe teaming up on a fix and flip.
Yeah, we'll do some stuff. It takes me a while to team up with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very selective. But you're right there, bro.
Okay, I'll just keep working, man.
You're right.
That's
there.
in me, though. I'm fine. I'm up for a challenge, bro. I'll chase the carrot.
I'm still waiting on my my.
I love a good carrot to chase, bro. I'm good. Sign me up.
Yeah. No, but yeah, we'll do it. But yeah, dude. I mean, is there anything else? Final thoughts? Where can we follow you?
Guys, follow me on Instagram, adu.pals on Instagram as well. We have a strong team. Our COO is basically a life contractor. He worked for Habitat. He, built a GC company, sold it, got $1 million check. My other partner, Chad, worked for Hermosi. We know the market that we work in. We know the space that we work in. We are building our community as far as ADU people who want to transition. I have a podcast, Skip the Lines with Jonathan Mitchell. I come from nothing. So I do like giving back. I also like making money, but I am a resource. Use me. I run with guys like Neil, who's awesome. Anyone who knows him knows that dude has a big heart, super hardworking, really understands value and reciprocity. And I'm the same way. So light ahead. That's my thing, health, wealth, alignment, all those things that are really important. Traveling, seeing the world,
surfing,
doing dope stuff with your life, man.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to have to go to your Maui house.
Hawaii Come on, house. Baby.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for being on. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, Dale.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I'll be soon.